welcome here once again to the CTS Sports Podcast. Caleb Bushy here, being joined here once again by Mr. Franklin Miller and Mr. Sam Valenti. Guys, we are officially in the sports equinox month of the year. It is the month of October. All four major sports leagues are officially in season. NBA and NHL preseason are officially underway, with the regular season starting here very soon in the coming weeks. MLB postseason is officially starting tomorrow, which we will start off with in just a bit. And of course, the NFL season rolls on. And I guess technically college football, though it's not a major sports league, it is the number one sports, I guess, outside of the Big Four, is also continuing to roll on. But we will not talk about college football this week because of the impending postseason that we made room for on our rundown. And we'll start with that. So the MLB postseason stage is officially set. It will get underway tomorrow, which will feature a doubleheader wildcard series game one, which will feature the Rays taking on the Guardians, followed by the Phillies taking on the Cardinals. Both games will air on ESPN and ABC, and the number one favorites, I sound like Greg Gumbel on March Madness, the number one overall seed, but the number one favorite going into the postseason is not Aaron Judge and the Yankees, but it is the LA Dodgers, who have won 111 games, the most ever for a National League team in the 162-game season, and a total topped only by the 2001 Seattle Mariners and the 98 Yankees. So if they win it all, they will go down alongside the Yankees as one of the greatest teams of all time in baseball history. But it will not be easy to them. They've got competitors like Albert Pujols and the Cardinals, and let's not forget Aaron Judge and the Yankees. It is going to be a stacked postseason format that a lot of people are looking forward to. And when's the last time anyone remembers the Mariners going to the postseason? I don't think smartphones even were invented yet. It is going to be a stacked postseason lineup that we're very, very excited about. And of course, I think everybody will be just as excited if the Dodgers don't win, but that's just me. Guys, what do you guys think of this impending postseason series? This is going to be a very exciting one.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I am stoked. I mean, postseason baseball, it's always great. So many exciting moments, but I think really this year, even more than like previous seasons, there's so much going on. You got so many storylines. You have just, I mean, you got Pujols in his last season. Can Pujols somehow find a way to win a ring in his last season? Like, imagine how crazy that would be. You got Judge coming off of hitting 62 home runs. Can he lead the Yankees to a World Series title for the first time since 2009? I mean, you got the Astros are going to try to make it back. Of course, you got just the Dodgers, who just, again, like you said, Caleb, just a phenomenal regular season. I mean, and then obviously the Mariners too. How far can the Mariners go? I also want to see maybe how far the Mets can go, because the Mets are always fun. So I'm stoked for this postseason. I think it's going to be awesome. I think there's going to be a lot of very memorable moments, but I'm not trying to like call anything or predict anything. I just want to let it all play out. I just want to see what happens, but I'm excited as always.
But one thing's for sure I learned that many Padre fans learned is don't get cocky. Slam Diego.
Yeah.
That was great, and then all of a sudden they got destroyed and demolished by the Dodgers and all that. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. Going into this postseason, that's for sure. Franklin, your thoughts on the upcoming postseason?
Yeah, I mean, I'd echo those thoughts with Slam Diego. That was very tragic for what happened with the Padres. But now it's a new year. I do think Padres will have their hands full with the New York Mets, but I am with Sam all the way. This is there's just very good storylines. And even with that, outside of guys like Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, which are not in the postseason, which really, really sucks, it's a lot of star players in this postseason. You got Aaron Judge, you got Jacob deGrom, you got Albert Pujols, you got Bryce Harper, you got Manny Machado, you obviously got Mookie Betts and Clayton Kershaw, Jose Altuve. The list goes on and on. And to top it all off, especially with what Sam was saying with the Seattle Mariners, this is like the first time they've been into the postseason playing like they had the longest drought, I think, of any MLB team for the longest time since they've made the playoffs. That they broke that this year, and they did it in crazy fashion with that home run to send them. So I mean, I'll be rooting for like an underdog, like the Mariners. Hopefully, they can like get a postseason run in their own money, but they will have their hands full in a really stacked AL division. But October baseball is back, baby, and it's super excited. I think there's a lot of like high power teams. Can the Braves repeat? I mean, a lot of people aren't even talking about the Braves right now because of all the other things that are going on, and they miraculously quietly got second seed, which is crazy. So they continue to be a powerhouse. So I mean, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great October baseball, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
And you're talking about the Mariners, they are definitely going in as the underdog team of the postseason this year. They kind of give me vibes as the 2014 Kansas City Royals, who they went into the postseason as a wild card team, didn't have the best of odds, and made it all the way to the World Series. And I think they lost in 6 games to the Giants. Franklin, you probably know more about that. 7 games? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember, yeah. So 7 games, and that was a pretty historic run for the Royals that year, even though they didn't win the World Series. They definitely surprised a lot of fans, and it just goes to show how postseason is completely unpredictable. What are our thoughts here on the postseason format? A lot of people think this is going to be the best format yet. Originally, the wild card was just a 1-game deal. Now there's going to be a series and all that. So what do you guys think of the format this year compared to years past? There's more teams in the postseason now allowed to qualify. Just overall thoughts on a letter grade you guys would give the format this year for the MLB.
I'll go first this time, Sam. And even to add on real quick, Caleb, the Giants were also a wild card team in 2014. So yes, it is always unpredictable to see who will make the World Series. It's all about who gets hot at the right time. But in terms of the postseason formula, I give it a solid A. Like, I think I like it a lot. It gives the kind of vibe of like just more of an opportunity for those lower seed teams to kind of like get a chance to like win a series, to try to get a chance to like move on into the other rounds. I will say the thing is, for the home teams that are waiting, they kind of got to wait a little bit. Like, their bye week is going to be a little longer than usual. But I like the format. It gives every team a fair shot. Because it would suck that like you would go into a wild card round and say if there's only 1 game and then one of your star players was hurt for just like a couple days and he has to miss that game and like they lose because of that. So I like the format of like giving an opportunity for all these teams to like to be able to win a series like this in a wild card round. So I think it's good for MLB baseball.
I do like the idea of a wild card series. I actually would be open to the idea of a play-in tournament, kind of like what the NBA is doing. But because, there very little teams get to go to the postseason, I think the MLB at one point had the smallest bracket compared to all the other Big Four sports leagues when it comes to their playoff system. So I actually would want to see a play-in tournament, but I am perfectly fine with the way the format is now. Just my thoughts. Sam, your thoughts on your letter grade of the format this year? Is it a win-win?
Yeah. I will say, Franklin, I'm right there with you, man. I'm going to give this an A2. I mean, for me personally, it's more baseball. We get more excitement, more stuff going on. So I'm happy with that. And
don't forget, more money for the MLB.
Oh yeah. See, everyone wins. And that's a good point, Franklin, you made about the wild card, because the wild card, sometimes it would be kind of annoying. And, for the 2 teams I root for, and the Rangers and Cubs, those 2 teams, have had, their issues with the wild card games before, being just 1 game and having a good season. I think it was like 2018. I think the Cubs had a great season, won 95 games, but lost to the Brewers in the tiebreaker for the division. Then they lost to the Rockies in just a one game wild card, and then boom, season's done. So, so I think it is more fair that the wild card is going to be an actual series now. I like that a lot, and yeah, some people might say the wild card, it was kind of fun because it was, just 1 game and everything was riding on that. So I can understand where they're coming from, but I like it better this way. And, I'm just excited for more baseball. We're going to see some more teams in there. Could be possibilities for more teams to go on. Maybe some of these, like we were talking about, underdog teams to possibly go on a run that we could see. So I'm all for it. I like it.
What do you guys think of the idea that, the division series is still best of 5? I kind of think kind of like the NBA and NHL playoffs, they should be best of 7 series, but that's just me winning by 4 games, and it would just be more baseball. But what do you guys think of the idea of doing a best of 7 series in the division series?
I mean, I personally would say that it's not a huge deal. I would agree to the standpoint that divisional series should be 7 games. I am okay with the wild card being 5 games. I'm okay with that, especially if we made the upgrade from one game in wild card to a 5-game series. Then I agree that we should probably move it from a 5 to a 7 in the divisional round to kind of give the teams that actually won their division and had really great seasons, like 7-game series right out the gate. I agree with that sentiment. But it's not really a huge deal that it's not the case. But if I had to have a vote on it, I would say probably it should be 7 games. But it is what it is. I'm not too upset about it. So that's just my thoughts.
And keep in mind here, another thing to mention, only the top 2 seeds in both leagues, the AL and the NL, are the only 2 teams that get first-round byes. But looking into the postseason picture, I'll read off the series one by one. Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Guardians. That will be the first game tomorrow, 6th seed versus 3rd seed. Other wild card, the Mariners taking on the Blue Jays, 5 versus 4. And then number 6, Philly, will take on the Cardinals, number 3. And, of course, the other wild card series, the San Diego Padres, number 5, taking on the Mets as the number 4 seed. I'm actually kind of surprised a little bit that the Padres even survived making it to the postseason, considering all the bad stuff that has happened with Tatis and all that, and basically having all that money they invested in those players kind of go to waste, and now they're kind of just limping on. But to close this topic once and for all, what's the biggest series that you guys are looking forward to as we go into the wild card round? There's 4 of them here. We got Rays, Guardians, Mariners, Blue Jays, Phillies, Cardinals, and Padres, Mets, just to refresh your minds.
Sam, you want to go first?
Biggest series you're looking forward to.
That's a tough question, but I'm actually going to go with the Phillies and Cardinals. I'm excited for that one because I mean, straight up, you got Bryce Harper against Albert Pujols and the Cardinals. I mean that's great. You got this. You got just a star in Harper. He's back in the postseason. Harper hasn't won a ring yet. He said he was going to bring a ring to Washington, and he did. Remember when he went to the Nationals, when he went to the Phillies? Yeah. And if you guys remember, there was that press conference that he gave, and he said, I think he said on accident, I'm going to bring a ring to Washington. Well, he did. He did by leaving. I think it would be really cool if maybe we see Harper go on a run, but then we got Pujols as well, and obviously just the craziness of his season, hitting 700. So I'm excited for that series just because it's like 2 guys who I'm a big fan of. Like I said, I did like Pujols up until this season, but he's won me over with this whole thing going for 700. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I will say I know some people kind of felt bad for Bryce Harper the year he finally leaves Washington, and then all of a sudden they win a World Series. I will say that was a smart strategy move by the 2019 Nationals team to invest more in a pitching arm in Steven Strasburg, who was voted MVP of that year in the World Series. So it was a smart technique for the Nationals to invest in pitching. And I am kind of excited to see Bryce Harper get his own postseason stardom. It's about time. And the dude's very talented. It's kind of shocking that it's kind of taken this long. But we'll see what happens. Franklin, your favorite wild card series going into the opening round?
Yes, I've had a toss-up between 2, but I'm obviously going to choose one. It was between the Mets and Padres and the Blue Jays and Mariners. But I think I'm going to lean more towards Blue Jays and Mariners only because I really love the Mariners story here. They have not been in the postseason in so long. And I'm kind of, from a bias perspective, I'm kind of rooting for an underdog story here a little bit. And I have a feeling that something's going to pop off with with October Mariners baseball here. I do like I am intrigued with the idea of how the Mariners pitcher will fare up against the Blue Jays hitters, especially with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is a beast, by the way, one of the elite players in our league and in the MLB. But I'm excited about the young pitchers that the Mariners have that have done really well this year, and I think they're up for the challenge. I think they're hungry. I think they're ready, and I think they want to show the world what they're capable of. I think they can have I'm not going to go and say they're going to go and win the World Series, even though baseball is the most unpredictable sport in the world. But I won't be shocked if they go on a little bit of a run and give the Blue Jays a run for their money and maybe go to the divisional series to play Houston. It could happen. So that's the series I'm looking forward to, mainly because of the underdog story behind it.
Yeah, I think we're all rooting for the underdog. But like, if you had to choose which team, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals, which Pujols' son is last season, or would you rather see the ultimate underdog prevail and win it all?
I mean,
I would. Oh, Franklin, you can go first, man.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. I think both have like good storylines because both in a way are a little bit of underdog stories because the Cardinals aren't heavy favorites, and obviously everybody would like Pujols to like run off into the sunset.
But that's like what everybody wanted for Drew Brees in this last year, and it just didn't pan out after that second round. So I feel like that could be the same kind of scenario.
Well, Drew Brees got cheated by penalty, but that's neither here nor there. That's neither
here nor there. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay.
Don't get me started, Caleb. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a whole other discussion, and we don't have time for it. Okay. All right, moving on. We'll have plenty more postseason talk to talk about next week. But once again, a reminder, Wildcard Series starts tomorrow, and both games will air on ESPN and ABC. Moving into the NHL preseason, very exciting here. You know, you got the Coyotes about to drop the puck at Mullet Arena here in the coming weeks, and also ASU Hockey, a shout-out to them. But you know, the defending champs Avalanche did lose some key players in the offseason, and we're really kind of seeing that come to fruition. Forward Nazem Kadri and goaltender Darcy Kemper are no longer part of the squad. However, the biggest team a lot of people are thinking that are going to be a Stanley Cup contender is not the Dallas Stars, Sam Valenti.
No.
Show off your shirt. I'm not sure.
I know that. No, we're not.
No, I'm talking about the Calgary Flames. The Flames added one of the best playmakers in the league in Jonathan Huberdeau, and an already strong defensive team got another top-pairing defenseman in Mackenzie Weegar. So to top it all off, the Flames signed Nazem Kadri from the Avalanche to add a combination of offense and to its top six. And so far, if there's any team that cashed in on their roster in the offseason, it is none other than the Calgary Flames, who were just not too long ago coming off a bitter elimination against the Edmonton Oilers in the second round of the playoffs. So overall, I think we finally could see the Stanley Cup return to Canada, and the team to do it is not the Montreal Canadiens, who we thought were going to be in recent years. I think it's going to be the Calgary Flames. Sam, you're the hockey guru here. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree that the Flames will be the ultimate Stanley Cup contender as we get ready for the new NHL?
Well, the Flames are certainly a contender. Don't get me wrong, but I'll be honest, Caleb. The team that I got my eye on that I think is really going to make a strong push to win the Cup is a team that made the conference final last season in the East, but they fell short against Tampa. I'm going to go with the New York Rangers. I'm going to go with the blue shirts on here. I mean, if you look at their offseason, they didn't do a whole lot, but they were able to re-sign, some key contributors, and they made a pretty decent signing with Vincent Trocheck, who used to play for the Hurricanes. I think that's a very good signing. Trocheck is a very, very good player, and I think he'll fit right in on that second line for New York. And the Rangers, they were so close, if they But they, unfortunately for them, they couldn't do it. But yeah, I really think the Rangers are going to take that next step. I mean, Shesterkin, I mean, what more can be said about him? One of the best goalies in the NHL. He's just a stud. So, and the Rangers, all their young talent, of course. So I think I'm going with the Rangers here. I could honestly see the Cup possibly return to New York for the first time since '94. So,
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't even mention Panarin either. But I mean,
yeah, you're right. Can't forget about Breadman.
No, it's I will say I kind of always it must suck to be a New York sports fan. I mean, me and Franklin have had our times rooting for San Francisco and Arizona teams, but can you imagine like what it's like to be like the Spike Lee of fans with the like the hands up at Knicks games? I want to see that. That's like kind of what the Ranger fans have experienced for hockey, but I don't know. I just don't see it. And Paul Bissonnette said this before. The Rangers are just overhyped. This isn't like I don't see them being a contender. They're falling apart. So
I don't know about that. Well, I mean, I'm not even a Rangers fan, but I have a friend. I have a friend who likes the Rangers, so maybe I'm a bit biased towards him.
ooh, we'll see. Wait, is it
Shout out Ben Slotnick. Shout out Ben. I have to give him a shout out. I was waiting for the time to do it.
Wait, so he's the one that thinks the Rangers are going to win the Stanley Cup?
Well, I'm not sure if he truly thinks they're going, but he is a Rangers fan, so he's probably I think he probably does.
Not sure I agree with that. We may have to have him on the show next week. Just to
okay.
But we'll see. Franklin, I know you're not the biggest hockey fan, but if you had to pick a Stanley Cup contender that is not the San Jose Sharks, because we know they're going to choke, we can just tell you that in advance now, so you don't get your heart broken. But who do you think is going to be the biggest Stanley Cup contender? If you just had to flat out guess anybody.
Hey man, I was really about to just joke around and say the San Jose Sharks, but I'm not going to say that. Like,
no, I'm always a step ahead of you, man. You're not going to pull that off here.
I was going to say the San Jose Sharks, and just kidding. But actually, I did research, believe it or not, Caleb Bushy. I actually have I don't know if this is like a big, gigantic shock to a lot of hockey fans, but if I'm not to pick the Avalanche or the Lightning, my pick for the Stanley Cup would be this year the Carolina Hurricanes. So I think they have doing my research. They have like a really good, strong forward core with, and they were able to re-sign Paul Stastny along with Sebastian Acho and Martin Nikas. And they have one of my boys from back in the San Jose Sharks, Brent Burns, who is a really good defensive player. So I like the impact that the Carolina Hurricanes have going into this year with this core they have. And not to mention, that's not even their best part of their team. They got two all-world goalies in Frederik Andersen and Ati Ranta that basically were they won the William M. Jennings Trophy Award, which goes to like the lowest goalies allowed throughout the season last year. So Carolina Hurricanes have a solid roster. I think they just got to put it all together, and I think this could be the year that they do. And I think they can have a run at the Cup this year.
That's a very good point, Franklin. And let's not forget the Canes did win for the first time ever in franchise history. They won the Metropolitan Division Championship, which was a huge division title victory for them. So I kind of like it. I can see those bunch of jerks making another good run for the Stanley Cup. So, and I gotta give a shout out that is like the best branding I've ever seen in all of the NHL with selling the t-shirts, bunch of jerks. I don't know if everybody is familiar with the joke, but literally like a radio station that was, I think it may have been for the Rangers or something like that in the playoffs, or it was during a regular season, called them a bunch of jerks, and they just totally embraced it. It was
it was Don Cherry who said that. Yep.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. That's amazing how you just embrace stuff like that. Just
so
cool.
Awesome.
Well, not much further we can expand on the NHL yet because the regular season doesn't start till next week, but we'll get in some more of that next week. Moving on, back to football. We took a break from this last week, but we're going back into the NFL discussion. And the biggest thing I wanted to talk about, this is just me, but you guys can explore anything else you want to talk about in the NFL. But for me, I got to talk about Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They had an impressive Thursday Night Football win over the Miami Dolphins, 27-15. And I do see some signs of progress for the offensive line. But do you guys think the Bengals going up against this, what will be a pivotal game against the Baltimore Ravens this upcoming weekend. Are the Bengals back to Super Bowl contention, or was that game against the Dolphins just a one-off, one-game wonder performance?
See, I don't think it was a one-off. I think the Bengals are a good team. Like, I really do. Like, they're really talented. Like, offensively speaking, I think it was one of the best play calling games that Taylor had this season, and Joe Burrow and that offense got it all figured out together. I think the Bengals rushing attack has been not as it was last year, which is kind of getting in the way a little bit of like how they've been playing, but their pass rush is still there as well. And I believe they do have a really underrated D coordinator. So I would say they're a good team. There's not really much I like learned from them from this win. I'm not saying that because Tua got hurt. I still think even if Tua was healthy, I still think they have a good chance of winning that game because I think they're that good. But I just think the AFC is just loaded with too many teams now. Like you got Baltimore, who in my opinion might be the more talented team than Cincinnati. Not to say Cincinnati can't beat them, but I do believe Baltimore is a much better talented team than Cincinnati is right now. You also got to factor in Kansas City, factor in Buffalo. You got the Chargers. There's just too much loaded firepower now in the AFC, let alone in their division.
So you think
that's not my bad. But that's not to mention too, I know this is a really touchy subject, but when Deshaun Watson comes back for Cleveland with the defense they have over there, even though they just lost to Atlanta, but when Deshaun comes back, Cleveland might shock some people too. So I don't know. I will see, but there's not much I learned from Cincinnati, but it's just that much. AFC just gotten that much better.
So you think it's just too much of a crowded house?
Yeah. As opposed to last year, yeah, it is.
That's fair. I guess it's just me. I just really want.
I forgot Miami too.
Back. I
forgot about Miami.
Sam, your thoughts on the Bengals? I mean, on their offensive line improving, the rushing attack could use some work, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Bengals, and of course I love Joe Burrow. You know, Joe Shiesty, love the guy. I mean, there's a lot of talent on that Bengals team, and I think at Reese Wings, they've starting to pick it up, and I mean their losses have been close. Their losses they've been close, and honestly, some of those probably. You can argue that at least one or two of those losses could have easily been wins. And maybe maybe there's like a whole other thing that we're talking about the Bengals in. But I'm not. I think if they beat Baltimore, they will. I'm ready to put them back on my thing of I think they can go to the Super Bowl. I think they can get back there. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to make that leap just yet. But if they can beat Baltimore, or at least play them very well. At least play them in a close game. I can be like, okay, I would consider it. But I'm rooting for the Bengals. Obviously, I love their run last year and stuff. So I definitely wish them all the success. Obviously.
Yes, and like I said, usually for a team that comes off losing the Super Bowl, they usually have the highest chances not to make it back to the Super Bowl the following year. So the Bengals have a very tough challenge in dealing with that crowded house in the AFC. I think Franklin brings up a good point. A little off topic here, because we all know Joe Burrow is kind of known for his smoking cigars. Who does a better version of smoking cigars, Joe Burrow or the one and only, the legendary Mike Ditka? Franklin, we'll go to you first. Who does better at taking a cigar?
I mean, Mike Ditka, man. I mean, he kind of just he makes it look so cool. Especially with just the it's just everything about it's just so great. I mean, don't get me wrong, Joe Burrow does it so nonchalant. That's why he's called Joe Cool for a reason, even though it came from Montana first, but that's neither here nor there. But Joe Burrow does make it look very, very, very promising and cool. So, I mean, I like it a lot. But no, nobody compares to Mike Ditka. Not even a little.
I thought I would just give him that shout out. Or I think Burrow's in that progress. I mean, you never know. So, Sam, I mean, obviously, you're the Chicago sports fan here.
Yeah.
Obviously, a no-brainer. It's Ditka.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, it just, especially with his mustache, it's perfect. It's perfect. But I love Burrows. Don't get me wrong. It's it's awesome. But Ditka, he's the OG here, so I definitely got to rock with him. And I'm biased, so.
I'm pretty sure Ditka already has cigars named after him. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah,
I guess it is a no-brainer. But there you go. There's a bonus sports culture question of the week. But moving into the actual sports culture question of the week. So not sure if you guys watch Monday Night Football, but there was a lot of I guess you can say camaraderie that happened on the field, and this has created such a huge controversy that the police have gotten involved. But a protester at the LA Rams 49ers game ran out on the field during the game with like a pink smoke bomb that like flows out pink smoke with, you can see it from far distance. And I forgot the Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner kind of took matters in his own hands because this guy was able to outrun security, absolutely tackles the fan. And now that protester, which the reason why he was doing it, I think it was for animal rights or something like that. We've seen this similar situation happen in the NBA. And now that protester is filing a police report against Bobby Wagner, even though that fan went out on the field, which you're not supposed to do. And I've talked about this with Chuck Drago of the Diamondbacks, who is the public address announcer. He's seen his fair share of people trespassing on the field. And he tells me, if you go out on the field, you automatically get thrown in jail. It's just no question. But obviously, we're not going to debate here who's in the right or who's in the wrong. But the sports culture question of the week: who was the most memorable moment in sports where the game got interrupted by fan interference? Now, to be clear here, we're talking about a moment where the game literally had to be stopped until this situation was taken care of. So I know a little bit of a complicated question, but what do you guys think? Who wants to go first on this? And this could be anything from the sports history books. Franklin. All right. You go first.
Oh, no, I was pointing because I thought Sam wanted to go first.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go. Okay. Now, okay. So first up, I'm not sure if this qualifies because this is very memorable, but I don't know if this exactly qualifies or fan interference. I figured I'd just say it, but whenever I think of fans getting involved with sports and then the game comes to a complete stop. In this scenario, I think they just straight up ended the game. But I think of the Malice at the Palace. That's what comes to my mind. And I know it's because I believe it started out as a brawl between the players, but then it's okay, they got that separated, but then it became a thing between Artest and then the fans, and then that became an even bigger thing, and then they just stopped the game. So I don't know if that exactly fits here, but that was what I came up with.
I will definitely qualify that. I've seen the documentary and all that. It's a great documentary on Netflix. You guys should check it out. But I think it started Ben Wallace and Ron Artest. There was a foul call, and I'm not sure who pushed the other, but literally one of the players pushed each other. And then Ron Artest literally laid down on the scores table. Somebody threw their souvenir sippy cup and had a direct hit. Wonderful accuracy throwing right there by that fan. Hits Artest. Artest gets fired up and runs into the stands and starts a whole fight. And the rest is kind of history from there. So I do like the Malice at the Palace. Very memorable moment. Franklin, your favorite moment where the game had to come to a complete stop by fan interference?
Similar to Sam, I don't know if this counts as fan interference, but there is such a thing as cat interference. And I remember when the Giants and Cowboys were playing 2 years ago, and the cat was running on the field, and the game it wasn't a crazy stop, but the game did have to stop for a little bit because there were just cat just running around the football field for I don't know how many minutes. And literally, when Stephen A. Smith says there's a black cat running around that franchise when it comes to the Cowboys, he literally followed them to New York. So I have no idea how this all happened. But yeah, if there's a memorable interference I have, it might not be fan per se, but that when the cat ran in at MetLife Stadium, that was one of the.
If we're gonna talk about animals here interfering in the game, we gotta mention the fox at ASC last season USC. I don't know. I mean, luckily nobody got hurt, but that fox was in the stands and all that. I'm like, what is going on down there? There's like people like you could tell there's some kind of dangerous thing going on. But I will say that fox brought some very good luck for ASU. It's the following week. That game they beat USC. The following week they beat UW, and of course they beat U of A. So the rest of the home games they won. So I think we need to bring that fox back because we had a very tough loss against USC. It's time to bring the fox back, But,
yes, 100%.
Absolutely. I do love the answers, but I gotta say, when it comes to my answer on the biggest fan interference moment in sports, I gotta talk about 2001 Bottlegate, Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Now, you got to take a look here. The Browns were fighting for a playoff spot at the time. And I think it came down to a fourth down play. This is in the final minutes of the game. If they didn't convert, this game was over, and they would probably be eliminated from the playoffs. And I think there was a very close call that they got into the first down line. But after a booth review by the refs, they called the pass incomplete. The fans, oh boy, they did not like that at all. And they threw so many beer bottles. Somebody could have gotten hurt. I'm surprised nobody did. But there's beer bottles everywhere, so much to the point where there's literally like 45 seconds left in the game, and they called the game. It was insane. And I think the most memorable moment in that with Bottlegate is you see the refs, like, as they're trying to get into the tunnel, all that. They're literally, like, ducking their heads and all that because they know they're, like, obviously the fans are pissed off at them the most. I think there was a lot of controversy that they were reviewing a play that they already could not review. It was against the NFL rules. Like, once a play is already in the past and another play goes on, you can't review it, but they kind of broke the rules on that. So there was some understandable evidence why the Browns fans were pissed, but you still shouldn't do that because somebody can get seriously hurt. And I think they actually ended up coming back out and finishing the game properly. But I gotta say that had to be the most memorable moment with Bottlegate. That's just my favorite moment. What do you guys think? I'm sure
I like it.
Sounds like there's mixed feelings a little bit, but
no, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
That's actually one that I was thinking of saying actually.
Okay. Oh, I like it. Well, now moving into our second to last segment of the show is none other than the box draw. So a little check here on the records. I believe Sam is 3-1.
Yeah.
Yes, Sam is 3-1. So this week, we're going to play a little easier here to give Franklin a chance to come back.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yes. But it is.
Don't go easy on me, Caleb. Don't easy.
No. But I mean, the question may be easy, but I never said the answers wouldn't be. So, but for those of you new to the show, the box draw, I'm going to ask a simple question here. And however, they won't be able to say their own answers. They're going to choose 2 mystery answers this week. And whatever answer they pick, no matter how absurd or stupid take it is, they have to defend it. And whoever has the best argument will win the box draw question. So the NBA season, and keep in mind, they all know the question going into ahead of time, so they have no time to prepare for this. The box draw question of the week is, with the NBA season here tipping off very soon, who's going to win the 2023 NBA Finals? Simple. All right. Now, there's 2 answers, 2 mystery answers available this week. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm bold.
On a scale 1 to 2, what number do you want? And keep in mind, these answers don't just have the team, but also the reasoning. So it'll be like this team because of this. That will give you a little bit of a hint.
Yeah.
Dang it. But I'll do 2.
You're gonna do number 2. Okay. All right. I am sending you that answer now. Sam, that means you're stuck with number 1.
Yeah.
You do that one.
Okay.
Who wants to go first? I know they're trying to stall as much as long because I know this is so bad. But You guys are stalling too much. I'm literally just going to pick one of you. It's going to be Franklin. You're going to go first here.
All right.
Who's going to win? Franklin, who's going to win the 2023 NBA Finals going into this new season?
Yep, a lot of thought on this, Caleb. But I think the winner of the 2023 or 2022-23 NBA Finals this year will be none other than the Houston Rockets, and I'll tell you why. They have pretty good young core with Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. And I think that a lot of the stuff that Houston actually does, I think their new head coach too, he kind of got off on the wrong foot last year. But I think the depth, if I'm not mistaken, got a little better for Houston. I mean, I know James Harden left and all, and that was a very, 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 very interesting situation that happened with him. But I think with after their picks for this year, I think that they have a chance to compete for if anything, a wild card spot this year. Or not wild card, but a lower seed this year in a tough Western Conference. And I think that could actually propel them to new heights this year. So, I mean, based on their depth, though, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they picked up some quality key players like Derek Favors, for instance. And they also have the reassurance of Jabari Parker, not Jabari Parker. They have Jabari Smith, who's also a really key young player. He's hurt right now, but when he comes back, I think he'll be able to make some noise. So, but that's just my short thoughts. And not to mention Eric Gordon, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the league. So I think the Rockets have a chance to sneak in as a lower seed, but make some really big noise as a big player in the Western Conference this year and hopes to go to the NBA Finals.
What are your thoughts on the number one pick with Smith?
Smith, yeah, he's pretty good. Like he came from Auburn, and I think he's like a very versatile forward that can protect the rim, and I think he's underrated as a defender as well. But I really liked looking at his tape in college, so I think he's gonna be a really intriguing young player, especially when he comes back. But this is gonna ride or die with Jalen Green. Jalen Green's gonna have an MVP caliber season for this to happen, which I believe he is capable of, because he has the offensive firepower to do so.
Okay. Sam?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Wow.
All right.
Dude, Franklin, props. That was good. All
right. Sam, who's going to win the 2023 NBA Finals?
Well, I think the NBA Finals champions are going to be the Utah Jazz. Here's why I think the Jazz are going to win, because the Jazz – they're built on youth, and they're going in a completely new direction. This is a new era in Utah. I mean, let's look at their new coach here. You got Will Hardy, the new head coach of the Utah Jazz. And listen, I like this hire because he is. I think he's like the youngest coach in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. I think he is like right now the youngest coach. And I mean, the league is always going to be evolving. So I think it's very important for the Jazz to have such a youthful coach come in. And of course, he's had experience. I think he was with the Celtics, I think, previously as an assistant, I'm pretty sure. And of course, I mean, look what the Celtics do. The Celtics just made the NBA Finals. So you're bringing in someone who is around a great championship contending team, to the Jazz. And I think that's very important. And I think, perhaps, with this change in culture, it really maybe brings the guys together, and they say, you know what, let's just win. Let's just win the whole dang thing. Like they say in Ted Lasso, let's win the whole dang thing. And then of course we cannot. Now, it sucks. It hurts for me to talk about this guy because I wish my Dallas Mavericks had gotten this guy. But I'm going to talk about the legend himself, Colin Sexton, who I wish was on the Dallas Mavericks, but is not. He's on the Jazz. And you know why I'm upset that we didn't get Colin Sexton? Because Colin Sexton is a fantastic player. And let's look at his stats here. He's averaged like 20 points a game for his career, which is pretty dang good. And he's only 23 years old. So he's getting into that point in his career where he's going to be starting to hit his prime years. And these prime years, man, I think he's going to take a leap with the Jazz because I think he's about to take over this team. He's going to be the focus here.
So you don't think
he's going.
You're saying his prime years are coming, but you don't think that's going to happen this year. So therefore, you don't think Utah's.
I think this is the beginning right now.
Well,
this is the beginning. It's right now. His prime years are going to start right now, and they're going to go on for I don't know how long. Could go on for a long time. You never know. Like Sexton, he's going to take a big leap this year. I'm telling you. You know, and I know that. And I know that everyone says Alabama's a football school, but you know what? Sexton's proof that Alabama can turn out some great basketball studs too. So I think Sexton is he's gonna do some good stuff. And I think Sexton, who knows, NBA MVP, possibly NBA MVP. You never know.
Huh. It's a little backpedal there. I like it.
I did my best, but
I'm surprised you didn't mention Walker Kessler or Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, the Utah Jazz can build up your youth group and take advantage of that for the trade deadline. But I mean, didn't mention that either. So
I mean, personally, honestly, I think Franklin should win this just straight up.
Do you want to? Oh my gosh, are you seriously gonna concede,
bro? Honestly, bro, I'm gonna say it right now. I think Franklin made a much better argument than me, just straight up.
I'll take that as a concession, Franklin.
Yeah, yep.
You win this one. Oh my gosh,
thanks, Sam. Thank you, but man, I was not expecting that to happen. I was expecting the rebuttal real quick. Dang.
Well, I'm like, bro. I was not gonna have a chance with that.
I thought you made a great point with the Colin Sexton argument. I was gonna add on, dude. He's shooting 37% from three, like for his career. That's really good.
No, bro. That is all you. That was a great argument with
just be glad I didn't put Sacramento Kings as an answer.
No, dude. The Kings would have been a great argument. Like you can actually argue. Like I know it's like crazy, but you can make a better argument with them other than the other two. I really believe that because you have at least a potential star player in De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, but
you also have that in Houston as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Just take the dub. All right.
I'm taking the dub.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Congratulations. Well, you are 2-2, I believe, or what?
3-2.
3-2. Well, congratulations, and
Caleb's so bad.
Both of you are 3-2 now, so we are officially tied. So this is exciting. But as we close the show this week, a lot of stuff happening. Mainly MLB postseason ASU football. A little shout out to them. They're back at home against UW, pretty much a lot going on. I'll go last here, but any final thoughts going into this weekend? Franklin, I guess we'll start with you. And you said this last week, Franklin, the Raiders, they finally won a game. So I think your rant definitely spoke some volume.
Now let's get back to business. I actually got one on the side, but this is for my boy Mike Marshall. You need to get a win in fantasy. Enough is enough. Now, with that being said, my last kind of take on this is ASU is going to upset Washington this weekend. I'm calling it right now. ASU is going to upset UW this weekend, and it's gonna happen in the most craziest fashion. I think the defense is going to show up. I think that they're actually going to make some noise, and I think that enough's enough with ASU right now. I think right before they go on their bye, they're going to upset UW this weekend. That's my take.
Wouldn't it be a bad way for Sean Iguano to get his first win as a head coach? So
going to happen.
Sam, final thoughts going into this weekend?
Franklin, it's funny they said that because I was literally going to say the same thing. I'm telling you, I'm calling it with you, man. I think ASU is going to pull off the upset here. They showed many encouraging signs against USC. The defense will have to be better, definitely. But I mean, I'm telling you, man, the defense had multiple chances to get Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams just went full Caleb Williams. And I mean, Michael Penix is not Caleb Williams. So I think if they can get to him, get some pressure on him, I'm telling you, man, if Emory plays the way he did, I say mostly in that first half, like against USC, I really think there's going to be some magic in Tempe this Saturday. So I'm calling it with you, man.
Yeah, I am on that train too, and I think ASU can pull off that upset win against UW. Keep in mind here, this is a day game we're talking about here, so I wonder if the Heat will play some kind of element in that. So that's the biggest thing I want to mention. It's going to make UW uncomfortable. One thing I thought that was smart they did with the renovations at Sun Devil Stadium is they switched the benches, so the visiting team has to get the sunlight, and the other team gets the shade. So it's got to play some kind of element. So I am looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a great way for Iguano to get his first win as a head coach. This dude deserves it. I mean, he's such a nice guy, I think we're finally going to get to see Iguano really get to prove himself. These last two games, taking on that as your first two games as a head coach in the middle of the season, I don't think that was kind of fair for the way Iguano was kind of treated, that this team is not going to get any better. There's really little he can do in a week preparing for the top two teams in the Pac-12. There's not really much he can do. So I think this is finally going to be the game where Iguano is going to prove himself and finally prove the doubters wrong. So that's
it would be so great for them to get a win before they go in the bye week. Them feeling so good. You got a new culture a little bit going for you. And hopefully they can go on like a little bit of a small run to just get something going for next year. That's just all. So.
And I will say, like, Iguano has done it's just the simple little details that you see. Iguano's brought back the Devil Walk, which has been years of tradition on the day of a Sun Devil game day, where they have for those who don't know, the Devil Walk is like a pep rally they have before every ASU football game, and I'm so glad Iguano brought that back. And not only that, I think you've seen fan attendance go up. Like, people just love coming to the games now. Maybe that's because they had probably a graduate Herm Edwards getting hired and all that controversy. And not only that, like I said, I think this team is much more fired up. I mean, look at UCLA's attendance, and they're the ones jumping to the Big Ten. They can't even get any fans to show up. So I think everybody just needs to chill out on the whole ASU hate against Coach Iguano. This is like getting ridiculous here. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. Overall, best of luck to the Sun Devils this Saturday against UW. I hope they get the win against those Huskies. But that's going to do it for the CTS Sports Podcast. We're back next week, as always, talking more of we'll have our first results from the postseason in the Wild Card Series, so looking forward to that. And, of course, NHL season officially gets underway next week, so lots to talk about then. But for Sam Valenti and Franklin Miller, I'm Caleb Bushy saying from downtown Phoenix, goodbye for now, and we will see you again next week.